This is the Giraffes Don't Eat Steak podcast, a show that brings you marketing stories, tips, hints, and much more. A treat for those who want to succeed in business or marketers who just want to learn. Good morning, Alex.
Morning, how's it going?
All good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. You're looking very colourful today.
Oh, thank you. It's the grey clouds. I need to brighten up my day.
The summer has left us, but your summer wardrobe remains.
So, did I tell you I've picked up an insurance client?
No, tell me about that.
Well, it's been a while, probably a couple of months since I've last had an insurance client. So I start a new one in a couple of weeks, and I'm quite excited. It's interesting to be back in insurance marketing, right? You're not in it right now, but it's quite different.
It is very different. It is very different. You definitely need to have a different mindset about how going through things. The procedures are quite a lot different. Do you think you're ready to jump back into that mold?
I don't think it leaves you. I mean, we spent so many years together working in marketing and insurance. When I had my first non-insurance client, I was quite freed, right? Oh, you don't have rules and regulations. You don't have to go to the regulator to ask for permission to do stuff. It was suddenly like, oh, wow, the world had opened. And so it's just about getting back into the space of, right, here's the little box we can work in, right?
That's true. I mean, every business has a legal framework that we have to stay within, but for some reason, it seems a lot more stringent within insurance, and there's a lot more loops to jump through. Whenever you're running a campaign, there isn't such thing as that's good, let's go. That doesn't work. You have to run through many different teams and revisions. I know that you've had some very interesting experiences in the past of writing one piece of marketing material, and after a month of revisions, it's something completely different.
No, absolutely. Once you've gone through legal, compliance, the product teams, underwriting, everyone that has to have a say, you can lose all your marketing elements, right? Which is the ability to convince a consumer to purchase. And that needs to stay through. And that's been the hardest part for me. And that's made me more creative, I think, because you have to think creatively about how to still get a marketing message across, but keep the ticks from your legal and compliance teams, because without that, you are not moving forward.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, as a marketer in an industry that isn't as tightly regulated as insurance, you don't necessarily have to have the additional skill of being able to almost internally and externally sell your idea from both a marketing and a legal point of view, right?
Absolutely.
So people coming from marketing in the insurance industry do also, I guess, have quite a lot of experience in, I don't know, what would you call it?
Persuasiveness?
Persuasiveness, yeah. and really kind of taking time to understand the law as well, because I know for a fact, and I know that we've been through some situations where there's the written law, whatever, the sentence of something, but there are numerous different ways to interpret that, right?
Absolutely.
And it really depends on the people that you're working with. We've worked with some legal teams where it's taken literally, and it's by the letter. There's others that are willing, and not so willing, I wouldn't say, more
open-minded
to see a different interpretation, and for them to build their own case as we go, in case they are then questioned about it from the law, and then they can argue it based on their perception of it. After all, that's why we still have courts. We have innocent people, guilty people, and sometimes guilty people are proven innocent. Sometimes innocent people are proven guilty, because everyone has a different perspective of things, right?
Yeah. So the key is building relationships with those teams, understanding their nuances. I remember one incident, because one of the principles is fairness, right? It's fairness. And I was doing a direct mail campaign, and I wanted to test. I wanted to A/B test. So half were going to be just a postcard, very simple, with a call to action to the website. And the other half was going to be a full pack with the terms and conditions and a full detailed policy brochure and an application form. And the perspective of the legal team was, you can't do that in case it's two people living next to each other, and the one says to the other, that's so unfair, I didn't get all that information in my pack. My gut instinct is, who does that? Who runs to their neighbor going, look at this insurance sales kit that I got?
Yeah.
But that was not the right response. It was about showing the data, choosing different locations, making it physically impossible for two people living next to each other to get these packs so that they can't share it. So that I could still run my A/B test. So working around and using what we have, the data we have, etc., to maybe overcome some of these fears and possible risks. I still don't see it happening. I've never, ever, and I'm in marketing. I love talking about marketing stuff. I may run to you, Alex. Maybe that's the risk, because I do go to you going, oh, look at this awesome piece of mail I got. But I can't see the ordinary man doing that.
I cannot either. I think it's kind of crazy. That's sort of just something you said reminded me another thing that we've come across in insurance, particularly because a lot of them are they have some kind of call center, I guess, whether or not it's online or physical, because obviously there's a sales element to it. Often we've heard, oh, I've heard this customer said that they didn't like this, they were offended by this or something like that. And then suddenly there's a panic within the sales floor that comes running through the business, through to the board, through to marketing, through to the receptionist, and everybody is now panicking because the message that we said is deeply offending. And we have to have a big crisis meeting about it. And then often it was, I remember you being saying, oh, whoa, stop the bus. We've had 3,000 calls today. We've had 15, nearly 20,000 this week. How many people complained about this? It was one person, and they just called up and they didn't want to buy, and then they complained about it. Okay, so do we think that is worth us spending thousands of pounds on changing the marketing messaging? Is it offending everybody else, or is it just this person? Thinking about all the different training we're going to have to do for the new campaign that we're going to look, is taking that all into consideration, and the legality of what we're already saying that's already been signed off by legal, is it worth changing that?
Yeah. And I mean, the basics of marketing is the same, right? No matter what industry, every person is inherently selfish and thinks the world revolves around them. That is just the way it is. And so we need to take that into account in our data and go, it's their opinion. They didn't like it. I've not liked some of the campaigns I've put out. It was my opinion, but it worked for the consumers. There were things that were positive about it. Maybe I don't like the color pink, so it had to have pink in it. But that's just one, right? It's one. I'm sure I'm not the only person who doesn't like pink. When I worked at various banks before I joined insurance, my father used to phone me up. He was quite great. He'd follow me bank to bank. And move all his accounts to wherever I was working. But then he would phone me and go, Erica, I don't like the green on this website. Do you think they can change their brand color? And I'd be like, Dad, I'm quite low down in the scale. I don't think I could make this huge organization change its brand color because you've decided you don't like it.
That would be quite interesting if a large corporation ended up changing their branding because the father of one of their employees didn't like the green.
Didn't like the green.
I somehow wish that happened.
Oh.
Yeah, there are a lot of complexities, especially what anything else that comes to mind for you when you think about the differences between let's say differences between a tech startup from in the marketing realm versus a 100-year-old insurance company. Where to start?
Where to start? I mean, already from the branding perspective, there's some things that make sense, right? In terms of the message you're trying to convey. Insurance is already just about a promise. It's not a tangible product. So it makes it harder already, right? You can't, how do you show it in an image? How do you, with a tech startup, you can show something sexy and exciting that people can relate to. Where with insurance, I remember I went to a conference once and I sat next to the marketing director of Louis Vuitton. And she was moaning that she was really having a hard time selling her shoes and whatever. And I looked at her and I said, I was working with you at life insurance at the time. And I said, I sell death. You sell sexy shoes. Come on. There has to be some level where you've got an easier job than I do.
Yeah.
When you sell life insurance and a lot of insurance, it's about bad things will happen, right? Your messaging is about bad things are going to happen to you. So prepare for the future. And no one wants to hear that. I mean, the younger you are, the less you want to hear that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you're right. And it's you have to build a lot of trust within your campaigning, within your brand, because you're promising to them that when they're gone and they have no control over anything, that you're going to be good on your promise.
Yep, that's all it is. And therefore, the colors you use, the tone of voice you use, the words you use, the messages you convey must just be that, right? Trust me, trust me, trust me. And that's why most insurance companies are blue, right? Look around, you're probably going to have a whole sea of blue because blue is the color of trust.
Yeah, I remember with the branding campaign and everything was blue, right? We're looking at the competitive landscape. It was blue, 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 blue.
And most tech companies can go with snazzy, sexy, different colors, right? Because you want to look unique, you want to look innovative, you want to look vibrant. There's a whole lot of other words and therefore colors that speak to those languages. Probably not blue, interesting. Maybe a shade of blue would work. Don't know. Have you seen any tech companies that use blue? I'm going to go look it up now because now I'm interested.
Maybe some of the old ones, isn't it? Like Intel.
Yeah, there's the bigger, solid, buy my stuff, right?
Maybe kind of a bit more back in the day, but now it's kind of, we're looking at like greens and oranges and reds. Yeah, really vibrant colors. Yeah.
Well,
cool.
I'm looking forward to diving back into insurance, and I'll tell you all about it the next time we meet.
Oh, looking forward to it. Looking forward to your next colorful wardrobe.
And maybe back to blue after that.
If it's gray, if it's another gray day. All right, cool.
Bye.
Bye. That wraps up this episode of Giraffes Don't Eat Steak. Thanks for joining us. I hope you found value in our discussion and got some new ideas to apply to your own business. Tune in next week for another round of marketing insights and inspiration. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We appreciate you listening. Catch you next time on Giraffes Don't Eat Steak.